First of all, thanks for joining us. This is a great opportunity. It's really important for us to connect and speak directly to resellers, because that's kind of where we get the bulk of the information that we use to create the software and improve it, and just figure out what people are thinking about it and how they're interacting with it. So this is really important for us that you took this time to talk to us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. So we can just start off. You can introduce yourself if you want to shout out your social media, your closets for your different stores, and just tell us like where you're located and how you guys started reselling.
Okay. My name is Lisa. I'm 44 years old. I live in Greenville, South Carolina. I currently sell among multiple platforms, which include Poshmark, Mercari, eBay, Tradesy, ThreadUp, OfferUp, and Facebook Marketplace. Always looking to expand, so I'm very excited to see when Vendoo adds additional marketplaces to see which platforms can best serve my business. I kind of fell into reselling because I have an absolute love. When I say love, I mean love of shopping, and I have a crazy Christmas addiction. So I would constantly be at the thrift stores anyway, hitting up Christmas stuff. Well, I'm not kidding. Right outside the store is a 365-day-a-year Christmas room, and I pay for a storage unit for anything that doesn't fit in there. Got to the point where my boyfriend said, you got a little too much. You really got to do something about it. I took my first bunch of items that I was no longer using Christmas related, even though it broke my heart a little bit, bundled them, put them on Facebook Marketplace. And once they sold, I was like, okay. Then I went out and hit some thrift stores and bought a picture for $5, flipped it for 25, and I was hooked. I was then like, okay, I very rarely thrift for Christmas anymore. It then became home goods. My son is my partner, and one of my sons, I have 4. He's my partner. We then began thrifting home goods so that we could flip those on our own personal site. And then we got introduced to Poshmark, and it was downhill from there. I have then increased to Mercari, eBay, and so on, but I love thrifting, and that's kind of how I fell into reselling, because of Christmas and my boyfriend.
Awesome. So you kind of mentioned the type of items that you sell. You started off selling Christmas items. Now you're mainly into home goods. Where do you typically source? Like, where do you find good inventory on a consistent basis?
Well, just real quick, I also do women's clothing now, men's clothing, some kids, and shoes are definitely a big thing. But I have a few thrift stores that are around me. I don't typically go to Goodwill as much because their pricing has gone quite a bit higher, but there are some smaller honey holes that are near me. And I've also branched out because we do want to get into some higher name brands. We've done some, a little bit of retail arbitrage, and recently started sourcing online.
Okay.
Awesome. What do you consider is your primary marketplace out of all the ones you sell on?
The primary marketplace, it varies. I'd probably say eBay though, because it's the most consistent because of the large audience. So I would have to say that that's where at least we're getting most of our sales from.
Okay, quick question. You mentioned that you were managing like numerous platforms. You mentioned maybe 7 or 8 different platforms. Did you try to manage all of those platforms manually before you used the software, or did you just jump right in with the software?
Yes, we were already actually in business for probably about 9 months to a year before I even heard of Vendoo. And so when I heard about it, I decided it was time to do something because of the fact that listing took me so long with all of those platforms. So I was like, let me go ahead and do that. And then later, it helped me also with my own inventory system, because at the bottom of every listing, I can put that personal SKU. So when an item sells, I just pull that up and I know where it is. So having Vendoo come into my life has been a blessing to be able to list across my main 3. And as you guys expand, I'm excited that eventually you'll have all of them. I know you guys.
We will, yeah, we're working on it. So eventually we're adding more marketplaces. We have a few more coming soon that we haven't announced yet, but we're definitely working on expanding, just because we know that for resellers, like you said, like you want to be on as many platforms as you want, as you can be actually. That's kind of one of our goals, is we want to give people as many options and as much visibility as possible to get their items out there and sell things quickly. So definitely, I just want to reassure you that we do have more marketplaces coming soon.
Oh, I trust that you do.
So what do you like the most about reselling? Like, what gives you the most fulfillment out of being a reseller?
Honestly, I like I said, I love to shop. I mean, I could go into the dollar store and be happy to shop. I just love to shop, and to be able to do that now and still be able to make money of it, and now know that my sons and I are using these profits to then build a legacy for my grandkids. That's really what I really like, is that we're setting up a legacy for our future.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So what do you consider are your biggest challenges when it comes to reselling?
Definitely was an inventory thing. And as I mentioned, Vendoo has really helped with that. It took a while because I have about 1,200 active listings at any one time. So it took a while getting those integrated into the Vendoo system. By the way, I would like to say, I love the fact that you guys allow us to continue to add and only charge for the added.
Mm-hmm.
Much because somebody with 1,200 listings. Yeah. But really, inventory was such a big thing, and I still have some pieces that I haven't really integrated over with regards to getting my new inventory, how I use Vendoo. You guys have really made my life so much easier with my inventory, and that's one of the biggest things, is being more organized with that. So when an item sells, and then when an item sells, to be able to delist them on my other platforms in the drop of a hat. Amazing.
Yeah, so you said 1,200 active items on 8 marketplaces. That's almost like having 1,000 active, or almost having 10,000 active items. You know what I mean? So to be able to see them all in one place, to see, oh, okay, this one's listed these places. Okay, this one's sold here. I think all of those little things are very helpful as far as just organization goes, because managing that many items is a headache.
Yeah, definitely. You guys have been a lifesaver, seriously.
So yeah, just generally, like, how has the experience been for you? Like, when you went from, you said you were selling beforehand with no software, and then you implemented the software into your workflow. How was that transition for you, and what were the things that you noticed immediately?
I mean, it's really made my life so much easier. And let me tell you, relisting and delisting have been an absolute blessing through Vendoo. Being able to, because come on, we're all human, especially I have a full-time job, and some days you're just worn straight out. So on days, I still want to do something for my business, but I just don't have the energy to sit here and measure and everything else. So on those days, I'll just sit on the couch. And one night I relisted in the course of like 2 hours, 120 items from platforms. And that weekend, several of those sold. Just yesterday, I was very busy. I only got to relist like 20 items. Had some of those already sell today. So it really does, on the days that I need to do something productive for my business, but I just don't have the energy because of the fact that I'm, we got stay-at-home moms out there. They need to time on the couch sometime. This really helps us be able to still do something productive for our business while being able to get a little relaxation in there and make some sales.
Absolutely. Yeah, the delist relist seems to be a favorite from people that we've spoken to, and just feedback that we get, especially because I know a large portion of our users were Poshmark users initially, and that was a really, really helpful feature specifically for Poshmark. So that kind of took on a life of its own, and there were people who started using our software just to do the relisting because they saw that it was helping them in the just-in algorithm and things like that, and they were making a lot of sales because of it. So it's good to hear that everybody's getting that same value from that feature.
Most definitely.
So how long ago did you start using Vendoo?
It's been 6 months, and I could never go back. I would never want to go back to a world, and especially because I keep expanding to other platforms, and there might not be ones that you haven't done yet, but like I said, I trust you're going to get to them all. And just the 3 main that I use, I have the 3 and I sell on the others, but just with those 3 main, the time that I'm saving, being able to list within moments and then delist and relist, and then when an item sells, deactivate them on the others, it really does help out a lot. I can't wait till.
Awesome. So is the delist relist your favorite feature on the platform, or are there some other things on there that you're also getting good value from?
That's my favorite. I do love the fact that you're able to sort by oldest, because usually what I'll do with my delist relist, and those are the ones that I definitely try to hit on a weekly basis to try to get a little more attention to those items, and then determine whether I need to send them to ThreadUp or not. But Yeah, the delist relist is amazing.
Is ThreadUp like a liquidation plan for you? Like when you see like things haven't sold through on the marketplaces, you send them to ThreadUp after a certain period of time, or how do you use ThreadUp in your workflow?
It's a mix. I do use them kind of as a liquidation if I want to get things out as a last ditch effort, but also there are certain brands that sell better on ThreadUp that I can get a profit off of. So I also source with certain ThreadUp brands in mind as well.
Okay.
Talbot's a huge brand on there. So if I find something Talbot's, a linen blazer, yeah. So, it's a mix of both.
Okay, awesome. So without you don't have to get into numbers or anything too personal, but have you seen a difference in your sales, just a difference in the numbers in your business since you've been using the software?
100%. I have not these last 2 weeks. I typically do about 10 to 12 sales on the weekend and then probably about 3 a day. These 2 weeks, I have not been relisting the way that I'm supposed to, or the way that I was typically at least relisting 40 a day. It could relist more, and I haven't been sticking to that. And my sales have dropped significantly in the last 2 weeks. I only had 3 sales the following weekend and still had decent sales during the week. And only 4 sales this past weekend. And I do believe it's because of the fact that I was not relisting the way that I had been for the last few months. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, go ahead, Alan.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask you, like, what would you say to all the resellers out there that are not using Vendoo?
This is one of the best tools in a reseller's toolbox. I mean, you're going to get your bang for your buck. One, the fact, like I said, that you guys do not charge for the number of listings, but only for the new listings. Again, for us us resellers that have a larger active inventory, that is a great value in and of itself. It's a time saver. It's going to save them time, especially if they're new to reselling altogether. If they can use it from day one, because I didn't come into it until I was 9 months into it. If they can use it from day one, it can track their inventory. They'll never have to worry about, like I used to, you'll sell it on one and forget to delist it, and then it gets sold on another, and you now have to cancel. So I would suggest from day one that they start out, but it literally is a great tool in the reseller toolbox that they need.
Awesome. I wanted to piggyback off of the previous answer that you gave. You said that when you saw that you weren't relisting as frequently, you saw the numbers dipped. So do you recommend that people that use Vendoo have a routine and they do something every so often or on a certain schedule? Or how do you suggest that they use it to where it works best for them?
I suggest that you relist daily. That's just my thing. I'm not one that collects likes, because likes, they just like it. I don't need likes, I need sales. So I would rather on a fresh eyes that are going to be interested in potentially purchasing it. I'd say look at the number of listings you have in your active listings and determine exactly a good ratio for you. So I, again, was just trying to get 40 a day. So at the end of a month, that would allow me to relist my entire closet, and then I would start all over again. So
okay.
I'd have to up my number if I wanted to relist in 2, to have to go to 80 a day. So how quickly they want to be sure that they're getting their items back into active, but I would want to mine it at least once a month. But sometimes I'll cheat and I'll be like, well, I really want that one thing to sell, so I'll relist it a few more extra times. But I typically look at the number of active listings I have.
Got it. So the gem in there was that activity is important, and you can't just list a bunch of stuff and sit and wait, but you need to be consistently doing things within your closet to keep the eyes and the traffic coming in.
Correct. 100%.
Awesome. This was great. This was really, really great. You gave us some good feedback, some good insight. We appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time to sit and talk with us. We'll definitely be in touch with you soon. We'll continue to work together. And I think that whenever we need some more ideas, I know you have great ideas, great suggestions, so we'll be in touch.
Perfect.